about that. Okay, so the past year for UU Rotaract, it started off a bit rocky. I'm not even going to lie, it started off a bit rocky. When UE closed in March, we didn't have any Rotaract meetings until the next semester. So while everyone else was having clubs and all of that, we were just not having anything. So in August, we inducted 10 persons, and myself and Joshua are two of the persons who were in that induction. And the majority of us actually made up the new board because there really wasn't anyone. We didn't have much members. So we started off with roughly like 10 to 13 persons. When we kind of assembled ourselves, we started to, invite people, promote on our Instagram, tell our friends, post stuff to get persons engaged. And by mid-semester, we were up to like 20 persons attending our meetings. And we were able to like continue with that until around November or so. So we started to do registrations for the club, and we actually had a total of 173 students signing up for the club. But the thing with you is that all the clubs are on the same day. So we didn't get as much persons coming to the meeting. So our current average meeting size would have been around 30 to 40 students from mid-November until around April. So this year, we actually inducted 30 new members in April. And I must say that's an improvement from where we're coming from. In September, we started around with 10, 13 persons, and we were at 30 inducted members. And the club size overall is around 50 persons attending, 30 to 40 persons attending the meeting each week. So that wasn't too bad. That was an improvement. As I said before, it's a bit rough. We had to, remind persons, come out to the meeting. We had to plan engaged meetings. So we invited speakers, or we had to plan activities to get persons to come and actually stay at the meetings. For our services this year, that's probably the best thing that's going for us right now, which is kind of surprising. Prior to the pandemic, we weren't doing many services. I think the last thing we did before the pandemic was visit a children's home. But since COVID, we actually had 2 tree plantings and a beach cleanup. At each tree planting, we actually planted 400 trees each. Well, at each planting. So the one in January, we had a survival rate of 80%. So that's good. We did one, I think, last week, and we had a beach cleanup in January. So that's been, sorry about that. So that's been an improvement for us coming from, doing 1 or 2 services. We had a lot of virtual services where we participated in stuff for breast cancer awareness, International Friendship Day, where we even partnered with a school in India, and we did a presentation on our culture with them, and we were just doing we did a host of activities with them. So we exchanged club headers. I believe that was what we did. So yeah, we exchanged club headers with that club. I think it's Sarawati College in India. I hope I'm getting that right. And we had improved participation in our international services. So most of the international services we did, or just the services in general, they were all online. So what we did, we asked members to, so for one meeting we taught them sign language. So we asked them to upload a video of them introducing themselves or saying their name in sign language. And, they were supposed to tag us in it and all of that. So that's how we really do our virtual services. We use Instagram as a platform. So we ask them to post on their pages or post to their story, and we repost. And, it has to be like, meaningful stuff. And we kind of count it as a service. And we had persons who were only able to do the virtual services. They couldn't attend the physical services. So what we had asked them to do is that if they're a part of a next youth group or a club, a community-based club, we asked them that, if it is that they did activities outside of Rotaract, they could submit a document to us for us to review it, and we would consider it as a service for the club. For funding, okay, so I must say we're doing poorly in that. Rotaract we're broke. I must say we're broke. We actually had to do a fundraiser in December. We did a cake box sale and we raised $45,000. Oh, my apologies. Hold on. I'm sorry about that. I had switched devices. Sorry about that. Okay, you're able to see me? Yeah. Okay, so we did a fundraiser in December where we raised $45,000 and we donated $30,000 to Bethel Baptist feeding program, their Christmas feeding program. So it was a feeding for the less fortunate and the homeless persons. So we donated $30,000 and we used the $15,000 to contribute to our physical services. It wasn't much, but it still helped us. We only collected district dues. We were unable to collect club dues because of some issues with UE. So I think that's the only problem we had, like the only challenge we had in terms of, functioning. We weren't able to collect dues or charge anyone or anything like that. We only collected district dues. Our club, all right, so I must say that I think we've been doing fairly well in terms of services and attendance. We have persons coming out to our meetings. They're always, engaging, talking, and we have good attendance. As I said, we have roughly 30 to 40 persons weekly that are coming, and they're constantly coming, and we appreciate that. We try to do, as I said, fun activities to keep them coming, because when it's online, it's really harder to get them to come online. It's not like when we're at UE and they just pass by the room to see if we're having meeting. No, sometimes people don't really want to come to the meeting, or they have another online meeting and all of that. So we really have to, engage a lot with them, especially in the meeting. So we don't just come and turn on the camera and be like, oh, today we're going to talk about, no, I asked them, well, Joshua and I and Rikilia, we'd ask them, ask them about their day, their week. Sometimes I used to give away credit. I'd tell them, I'd usually wait until the ending of the meeting. So I'm telling them, you have to stay for the surprise. So I'd give away credit persons who needed data and all of that. So we just had to find like really fun ways to just like keep them coming. And for the services, I must say, I didn't expect a lot of turnout for our physical services. And, we really appreciate it, because a lot of our club members don't live in Kingston. So the few who, decided that they would travel to Kingston, and those who are here and they actually came out. So for services, I think we had like at least 30 persons in total for each beach, for the 2 tree plantings. So we had 30 persons per tree planting and the beach cleanup. So we had like a good turnout, considering that everyone is back home all over Jamaica. So, and we had persons living outside of Jamaica. Actually had like 6 members or so living in the region. So we kind of had to just like find interactive ways to get them to continue coming, allow them to participate in our services. And we were featured in some articles, by the way. We came in the Rotary magazine for I think it's an April issue, I think. Or first tree planting. Okay, yeah, the May. So our first tree planting was actually it came in the Rotary magazine. We actually had an article in, I think is it the JIS? Yes. So where they covered our tree planting as well. And I actually had a PowerPoint here to show you guys, but the device I was using failed. So I had some nice pictures to show, what we've been doing throughout the year. If anything, I'll just send a picture in the chat, but I'm unable to share from the device I was supposed to be showing the presentation from. So yeah, right now I just have some pictures, but I'm unable to show that. So Just gonna ask Joshua if he has anything he'd like to add to it, you know.
Can you turn that device to the camera? Is that possible?
Pardon me?
Can you turn that device to this camera that you're using?
All right, let me try. Okay, so
It's possible.
yeah, I think so. It is. Okay, so let me just put it in the presentation. All right, so are you able to?
Yeah, we can see something.
All right, so this was a slide I was talking about previously. Sorry for the bad lighting. I might share this after. So I had some pictures. It was supposed to come up in a nice fancy way where we had pictures from our beach cleanups, tree planting, beach cleanup again. I think this was from our International Peace Day club meeting. We did a little thing. These are more photos from the tree planting. I think this was a COVID message where we were telling people to stay at home. So if you can see properly, you might see where it says Tanaye Yard at the end. And this is from our beach cleanup. And this is just a photo of us at the tree planting for the persons who did come out. Okay, let me go back. So yeah, so my PowerPoint was really just some points, the points I brought up earlier. Okay.
Right. Well, if I could add to what Kimona was saying, as she said, it was a very good year. I believe it was a very good year despite all the challenges for us. As she would have said, we were able to quadruple the membership of the club with our services. As she said, last year, the club was kind of dormant and we didn't have that much participation or interaction. And because of our new services and because of the talks and the things that our president and Kimona were doing, we're able to engage more people in general and therefore retain them throughout the year. So our services, as she said, they played off very well and we hope to be doing some more. We just finished our last one last week, as she said, and we've been partnering with some organizations to complete the services. And as I said, we hope to do a lot more in the coming year. So we're doing a lot of planning right now with our new board, and yeah, there are big things to come for us. And we hope to partner with you guys with your upcoming services. So hopefully you'll see some of us this week coming at your Hannahtown service. So you can get to meet a few of us and interact with a few of us. But yeah. But a big thank you to Kimona. I should say a big thank you to Kimona because she's really been the one to organize a lot of the members because I'm sure you know, we're students, as she said, we're all over the island or the region, and she has been able to call, text, check up on, and kind of just bring everybody together throughout the whole entire year, and so that we could actually conduct the services with reasonable amounts of people. So I just want to say a big thank you to her for that. But I think that's it from me.
All right, thank you very much, VP Joshua and VP Kimona. Truly appreciate it. We enjoyed the presentation. We really felt that, we felt the work to put into it, and we saw results as they came out. It really, Joshua, you touched on the last point about having that strong team or a strong person that requires, it's required to get this thing going and push for us to happen all the time. And of course, Kimona spoke to it as well, but a different section of it where it requires engagement of all the members in the club so they can actually become a part of it and, stick through the entire process. It's not easy in the new world, the whole digital world, as the president mentioned earlier. And we'll find new ways to make it happen. And I see that you guys have done that, by your own forces. And we're happy for that for sure. All right, thank you very much. We'll now move on to Immaculate. Well, a round of applause, Keith, before we move on for you for that extremely valiant effort. And we're truly proud of you. All right, so moving on to Interact now, and we will now ask President Naisha to present. Please go ahead, President Naisha.
Okay, so good evening, President Nakia, Rotarians, other guests. I'm really just honored to even be here to speak on the ways in which we kept ICHS Interact afloat during COVID-19, and the way in which we turned all the lemons that this year threw at us into cool, refreshing lemonade. And naturally, I had to come and showcase a skill that this year definitely called for me to utilize. So I hope you all enjoy my little presentation, and let's get into it. Go back. So I'll be speaking on three main pillars, namely service, family, and love. So point number one, service.
One second, please, before go on, President Aisha.
No problem.
Is it, I don't know who's seen the screen kind of small, as in it's shared between the photo and the presentation. Is there something in the settings on your side, President, or is it something on my side? I don't want us to miss that.
It's fine to me.
Bring it fine.
Oh, you're seeing
You can
something.
check. Yeah, on your laptop, PP Andrew.
Okay, my apologies. Please continue.
It's okay. So, service. So we know our mandate as interactors is to live a life and put service above ourselves. As our motto says, service ourselves. During this year, we weren't able to do a lot of the external activities we normally engage in during the year, such as pink run or basic school trips, book drives and toy drives for our basic school. But what we could do is give service to those within our school community, give service to ourselves, and service to our fellow interactors. So service to our schoolmates. I believe that this year has definitely allowed for us to sit back and truly observe what's happening within our school community. And I believe each and every single one of us experienced how hard it is to function virtually. And I don't believe there's a better time for us to ensure that we check up on our fellow sisters. And if it's even to explain a topic, to give a word of encouragement, just to always be there for our sisters during this time. Service to ourselves. Oftentimes, I feel as though we neglect serving ourselves and we pour so much into others and we leave ourselves empty. We know it's impossible to pour from an empty jar. So during some of our meetings, we had sessions where the girls would just come and share some of the struggles they're facing. And I kid you not, every single time we had meetings like that, I left, and I'm pretty sure all the girls left feeling encouraged and empowered to put thought into serving ourselves so we can fill ourselves up to better serve others. Service to our fellow interactors. So we had sessions during our interactive meetings called TED Talks. So we encouraged all the girls to share and to be transparent and to truly be each other's sisters. I believe this quote by Charles Duhigg that goes, "There's something really powerful about groups and shared experiences. People might be skeptical about their ability to change if they're by themselves, but a group will convince them to suspend disbelief." And I believe that this quote speaks volumes to us as an Interact club, because we were always so engaged, and if there was ever a point in time a fellow interactor spoke badly or spoke down on herself, we shut that down, because we're all stars and we're all, here for a purpose. All here, we're filled with potential to do great things. Pillar number 2, family. Oh, a point I missed, sorry. During our services, we had we definitely had to go back to the drawing board and think of new ways to do services during this whole period. So we had some creative activities where the girls were encouraged to create different things at home that would remind them of Interact, and create little clips saying what they love about Interact and what Interact wouldn't be. The phrase was Interact wouldn't be Interact without, and name something they really love about Interact. And these are some of them. I hope you guys can see. Yeah. So my girls really came out, and during the time, they were also ready and vibrant to come and communicate with us and to engage with us. So second pillar, family. A point I stressed at the beginning of the year was that I really wanted to create a sense of community, having a little family, and I truly believe that that was achieved this year. The first thing we did as an executive body was to issue a Google form and to collect activities that the girls would like to see during the year. And we tried our very, very best to tick off as many as possible, from game ideas to having interclubbings, because we knew that the voices of the ladies, especially in a time like this, is very integral to growth. And we needed to have a fun and interactive club so that they'll keep coming because they feel a part of everything. So in physical school, we knew our meetings were an escape, and the stresses of school with virtual learning really just intensified. So we had to keep the club vibrant and active. We had to keep the club relevant. So as time progressed, we grew more and more comfortable with each other, and everything else flowed easily. The girls felt safe and comfortable coming to us if they had a suggestion, and I truly believe that added value to every single meeting that we had. The environment we were able to create, given the circumstances, it truly amazed me, and I enjoyed every single minute of every single meeting that we had. Yes. And my last pillar is love. So the executive body, during my first year in this club, they definitely sparked my love for the club. And I believe that as an executive body, it was our time to step up and to show the girls everything that Interact has to offer and to spark their love for the club. Or executive body is on the smaller side, but that really didn't affect how well we managed the term. We've been with Interact through the ups, the downs, and we were adamant. We were determined that we would not leave Immaculate with an inactive club, because we know what Interact can do for people, and we really wanted all the girls to engage in that and to experience what we experienced. So personally speaking, Interact has helped to mold me into this person I am today. I believe it's helped me to be more resilient, more flexible, because before, Miss Gray and my friend Dani can speak, attest to this, where if anything didn't go as planned, I would literally sit in a corner and cry. But I believe being the president for Interact and being on the executive body for 3 years, it's really helped me to learn how to adapt to change and to, if needs be, go back to the drawing board with my executive body and come back with bigger and better plans. So I'm a living testimony of what Interact can do. And I really just want all my girls to experience what I've experienced and to excel in all spheres of their lives.
Thank you very much, President.
One more slide.
Oh, okay.
To round it all off, I believe that these 2 keys and our 3 pillars, they really helped to keep us afloat during this time. And though the year was rough, We proved that we were very resilient, driven, and we went back to the drawing board if we needed to. And I appreciated how well my executive body worked with me, both my official and unofficial executive body. And I'm really happy to say that we made it through a year that was unlike any other. And yes, the quote that Rotarian Andrew brought to me, the Rotary motto: "He profits most who serves best." So we live to serve best and to bring light to the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Naive. Excellent presentation as usual. Claps all around everybody. Yes. Promising Rotarian or Rotaract are in our hands right here. They can expect to see more of her going forward in the future. And of course, Ms. Gray, the center of it all, the backbone of Immaculate. So we welcome her to the floor because there is no Immaculate as well, not as good as it could possibly be. So let's welcome Ms. Gray to the floor. Let's hear a few words from her.
Okay, good evening again, everyone. For us, well, you said backbone and I went, I shook my head because really and truly, I must say that the small core of girls who have led the club, especially over the last 2 years, they decided that they wouldn't be shaken by how things turned out. And so they weathered this storm. I have to call it a storm. They've really brought us through coming up with many different interesting activities, never failing to come to a meeting to keep persons engaged, to make the meetings relevant, and also to ensure that in the midst of things, they made connections. So they were able to have more than one interclubbing, which is something we weren't able to do in physical school for a little while because of some restrictions we had. And so they were able to have that opportunity, which also allowed for the girls to interact with persons outside of their own club and to continue to build on that. To start the year, there was a pause in terms of club meetings. And for us, we have seen a massive growth in the number of clubs that we have at the school. So we're also stretched in terms of trying to get persons to come to meetings, get persons to come and not just be there for a while, but also to maintain their membership in the club, to contribute, to be engaged, to be a part of what's happening. Most of our club meetings are held on Tuesdays. So that's another challenge that we have trying to struggle with. And we also face that especially in the last 2 years for the physical school, we were having a struggle with girls coming to our meetings and running off to go to another meeting, then another meeting. And so we also had that as another challenge. So trying to figure out from the supervisory angle, how to go about starting club meetings in the online medium, ensuring that privacy was maintained, ensuring that we gave clear guidelines as to how meetings were to be held, if they're having visitors, how is that supposed to be monitored? All of those things had to be considered. Guidelines were given, they have stuck to the guidelines, and they have basically continued having their meetings without pause, except for when we have a holiday. And so you find that with the new medium we had to work in, they came up with creative ways to ensure that they were able to carry on and not just stop and drop hands. And so I acknowledge them over and over and over. I acknowledge them, I thank them, I praise them for continuing to work so hard to ensure that they were encouraging the girls and ensuring that those who would take up the reins after them would have a clear idea as to what they were working with and how to move forward. apart from not being able to go out to have, because we couldn't have any physical, any face-to-face kind of services. And so what they tried to do for services where they would normally go, for example, for Pink Run, or even during March when it was Endometriosis Awareness Month, they tried to spread awareness through the mediums that they had to their access, in ensuring that they continued not just to educate the girls in the club, but they used their platforms to also spread that kind of awareness. They ensured that activities were creative and engaging and yet informative. They used many different technological tools, taught themselves how to use it, used it effectively to ensure that meetings were engaging. And so I saw this as a wonderful opportunity of growth for them because of how they decided to set out, plan, and execute. Additionally, what it has also done is that it has given those who are coming in an idea as to how they can plan for and then execute activities that are more face-to-face, but yet safer, so they can put a proposal forward in order to ensure that they're able to also give service to those outside of the school community. So that's a little bit from me.
Thank you for a little bit, Miss Gray, PHF. Don't forget that, everyone. Don't forget that she's a Paul Harris Fellow under the By Our Own Club for her services all these years. And can I say once again, proof why it is well deserved and always be deserving. Always proud of what you have done with the girls, and you've maintained the club all through these years at the highest level. If you've ever been to an Immaculate meeting, you'll totally understand what I'm talking about. It's just pure class all the way and totally engaging. All right. So, Ms. Gray, thank you again. Thank you to President Naisha. VP Kimona has left to get home for the curfew. And thank you, PE Joshua. I will now ask all of you one question. If you give us one word of advice going forward, just one word of advice from each of you, how to keep your club alive or vibrant going forward, what would it be? And we start from the same model we started before. So go from PE Joshua to PP Naisha, then Ms. Gray. One word of advice, how to keep your club vibrant.
I think I would say, as Naisha said, one of our major pillars was family. And I think that has proven to be what holds our clubs together. I mean, when I came to one of your meetings earlier this year and I heard some of the women in your club speak about the reason why they're still a part of Rotary. Still a part of Rotary, I'm sorry. It really showed me that, you know, family is what makes Rotary. Family is always going to bring you back, check on you, ensure that you're okay, and engage you. That's really what keeps the club together. And I think developing that bond with the people in the club and people in the exec is what is critical to growing the club for us. And yeah.
Thank you very much, P. Joshua. President Naisha.
Okay, so what really kept me going, and I believe if we all employ it, it will keep us all going. Remembering why we started and remember our love for what we do. So we know if we have a good foundation and it's based on love and you're not just doing it for people to see you, you'll remain driven and you'll adapt to changes if needs be and keep pushing despite everything. So yes, I believe that's very important. Remembering why you started and remembering how much you love what you do.
That's right. Remembering your roots. Perfect. All right. Janelle Gray.
So if I combine So if I combine what both of them have said, in addition to combining it, because both thoughts popped up in my head, this is a comfortable space, a space that takes you away from everything that happened in the day earlier or probably the week before. And so coming together, meeting, having that space in the meeting to share something good that happened or to share something that didn't go as well. So something that didn't go as well for the day. Sometimes just having that space to let it out and then being able to laugh it off or having it celebrated, that's an integral part that I would never want to see being lost, because it does help to keep everybody together and reinforce the family unit itself. Finding not just the big ways to give service, but even in the small ways, and then sharing those small ways, which can encourage, so it can have that domino effect. So if I did something small and it has an effect, and I can say, okay, you know, we could try this out to ensure that we keep the service going.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gray. So we heard family. We heard, what's the question again? The roots, remember your roots, which is what Ms. Gray touched again. Got the roots of what we're all about is service. And we'll forget that. All right, so we have a few minutes, open the floor for a fair few questions. So we have PhD Bobby's hand up. PhD Bobby.
Thank you, PP Andrew. Mine is not really a question, but you know, just to extend the congratulations to the 4 presenters. It's fantastic listening to them, and particularly in the light of what COVID has done to the schools and that kind of thing. But I just wondered if we could second Miss Gray and secondment to Calabar, because you know, Calabar, when we formed Calabar, it was a deliberate act to get a boys interact club established. Because if you notice that we first had a co-ed club, which was Campion, then we moved to a single gender club, which was Immaculate. Then we moved to Queens, and then we moved to Calabar, and finally to Meadowbrook, which is also a co-ed. But I'm a little concerned, really. I know the time has been difficult with COVID, but if there's anything that we could do to revive Calabar, because I'd hate to see Calabar fall by the wayside, because boys are generally, you know, want to be shepherded, if I could use the term, you know, and to engage them and to, you know, foster them and to see them come up through life, because it's very important, especially in a time like now in Jamaica. We have to really see the boys on the right course. That's my 2 cents, President Andrew.
Thank you, PhD Bobby. I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if we could have, I'm sure if you had someone propose to have Immaculate and Campion as Immaculate and Calabar as brother and sister clubs, you know, a lot more turnout of boys, I'm sure, for that much. The boys will always be there, I'm sure. Full support. So, but I mean, they are a hard task. We're being serious about it. It is hard. We've had issues with trying to maintain a staff advisor for Calabar. And, you know, it's just been difficult. And boys with boys and, you know, distractions in life and how they see things. So, and worse with COVID now, it's been very difficult. So they haven't gone off the ground this year at all. But again, if things can stabilize come to next year, we'll try again and see what will happen. But it's been really difficult for the schools this year. Okay. Any other questions, or should I pass back over to the president? It's now 2 minutes to 8. Going once, going twice. President, I pass over to you for your words.
To close off. Thank you. Wow. I think I can pretty much speak on behalf of all our Rotarians, and indeed, in general, everyone that is a part of this meeting this evening, that it was a really awesome time. And I would say it is more or less how, as interactors and Rotaractors, it is how you're gonna basically translate into the real world. It's the way you approach these times. And they said that, you know, tough times is what really proves who you are. And these have been some very tough times. And just to see how well you were able to pretty much rise to the occasion. And I would say wisdom beyond your years. You know, I witnessed some clubs, Rotary clubs, that are struggling to the point that, you know, if they were able to do what you guys would have done, they would have definitely considered themselves a success for this past year. And so it's just kudos to of course, the staff advisor and the leaders in the varying club. And I was just listening to the presenters, and they were so articulate in terms of their delivery, in terms of their how they construct their presentation. And I will say, not only is the future of Jamaica bright when you have these bright stars leading these clubs, but we trust that the future of Rotary will be benefited from your leadership in the future. And so we encourage you. We will do our best. I know it's a struggle to raise funds. I can't promise anything on that front. We are also facing those headwinds. But if there's any idea that can be mutually beneficial in terms of fundraising, let's knock heads on it, and we will definitely be able to support you in that. So, Josh, your year will officially begin. I don't know, how is it again, in when school starts back, or how it?
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're doing at the new Rotaract here, but more officially when school starts back.
Yeah, that's what I remember. But Josh, I want you to continue to raise the bar, and you have good examples. You know, I would say continue and never stop, because in this club today, you will find two previous president of the Rotary Club, Rotaract Club of UWI, who have transitioned. You have our first president of the charter president of the Rotaract Club of UWI, in the form of Mr. Birthday and Anniversary Marlon, and you have myself as president. So, interactors, you know, what more can I add? You know, just kudos. And I know at times we, as the Rotary Parent Club, we don't do as we ought to in terms of support and guidance and mentorship. However, I want you to understand that we are not gonna necessarily always be there physically, but whenever you have the opportunity to engage any of us, we will be more than willing to help. And so thank you all for coming out, and thank you for your passion, and thank you for your continued service to not just your fellow students, but to the country and your community. So thank you so much for that. I will now turn it over to our Madam PE, as she will do us a toast to the Rotary Club, our Rotary organization of her choice, and RI.
President Naki, fellow Rotarians, friends, guests, Rotaractors, Interactors, join me in a toast to the Rotaract Club of Uemona, the Interact Club of Immaculate, my alma mater, the best school in the world. Sorry. And
All
to
right.
the Club of Kingston and RI.
Rotaract, Club of UA, Immaculate, Interact of Immaculate, Kingston, and RI. All right, so I will try. And as I say, you keep trying. If you fail, you keep trying. Try to play the national anthem. So please join me in the national anthem. All right, so it's now 7 minutes past the hour of 8. And I will say today was a very productive meeting, and now the meeting has come to an official close. And so I wish you all a good night, and of course, see you all next time. Be safe. Bye-bye.